A poor man saved every penny for 20 years and used all that money to build a house for his family. Finally, his house was built and ready. After that, an auspicious date was chosen to shift in his new house with his family. But just 2 days before that day, an earthquake occurred and his house was completely destroyed. When poor man got the news, he went to market and bought sweet before going to place where his house was built. Man reached the place where many people were gathered and expressed their concern for him because he lost his house before he could even got to live there. Some people tried to console him, but man took out sweets and started distributing them to everyone. Everyone who was present there was surprised to see this. Seeing this, one of his friends said, "Have you gone mad? Your newly built house has collapsed, your lifetime earning have been wasted, and here you are happily distributing sweets." Poor man smiled and said, "You are only seeing the negative side of this incident. Therefore, you are not able to see the positive side. It's good that house collapsed today only. What if it had collapsed after 2 days when I was going to start living in this house with my family? If it had collapsed then, I, my wife and children, all could have been killed. How big of a loss would have happened then? So whatever happened for good only." Learning. There are many times when we feel like we lost everything, but at that time, if we keep a positive outlook toward difficult situation, then we can deal with that situation calmly and better.
In a quiet town, there lived a man who cherished his brand new car. He spent hours polishing it to perfection. One sunny day, as he worked on his car, his 4-year-old daughter, curious and innocent, picked up a stone and accidentally scratched the car's pristine surface. Overwhelmed by anger, the man lost control. He grabbed his child's hand, striking it repeatedly, not realizing he was using a wrench. Tragically, the child's fingers were shattered, leaving her forever changed. At the hospital, the man was confronted by his daughter's eyes filled with pain and confusion. She asked a heart-wrenching question, "Dad, when will my fingers grow back?" The man was speechless, consumed by remorse. He returned to the car, venting his frustration through a series of kicks. Sitting beside it, he finally noticed the scratches his daughter had made, forming the words, "Love you, Dad." Moral of the story. This tale serves as a powerful reminder that love and anger have no bounds. It emphasizes the crucial principle that things are meant to be used and people are meant to be loved. Regrettably, in today's world, it often seems that people are being used and things are being loved.
Two friends who grew up in the same neighborhood meet at the age of 29, one poor and the other rich. The poor one says to the rich one, "My friend, now when you see me, you don't even say hello or answer my calls. You forget you're my childhood friend," the rich man retorts. "Oh, you and me, what are we going to say to each other?" 10 years later, the two friends find themselves face to face in a supermarket, and the poor man walks up to the rich man. "So, my friend, how have you been? What's become of you?" "Looking good? I have. I lost my father, but thanks to my wife, who supports me financially with her 13 million euro salary, I'm still among the rich. Speaking of her, here she comes. I don't want her to see me with you. She might get angry." The poor man's tears were at the edge of his eyes, and before he could turn around, the woman could be heard shouting, "Sir, you here? You know my husband? Oh, Lord, what an honor." After separating, the husband asked his wife where he knew the mister and why she started praising him. She replied to her man, "This gentleman is our director. He's worth 120 million euros to date, and he agreed to hire me in his company without any interview because he said he was a childhood friend of one of my relatives whom he holds in high esteem. Situations change over time, and the one you neglect today may be your savior."
A father was worried about his son, who was 16 years old but had no courage at all. So the father decided to call on a master to train his boy. The master said to the boy's father, "You should leave your son alone here. I'll make him into a real man within 3 months. However, you can't come to see him during this period." 3 months later, the boy's father returned. The master arranged a boxing match between the boy and an experienced boxer. Each time the fighter struck the boy, he fell down, but at once the boy stood up, and each time a punch knocked him down, the boy stood up again. Several times later, the master asked, "What do you think of your child?" "What a shame." The boy's father said,
I never thought he would be so easily knocked down. I needn't have him left here any longer." "I'm sorry that that's all you see. Don't you see that each time he falls down, he stands up again instead of crying? That's the kind of courage you wanted him to have." There once was a little boy who had a bad temper. His father gave him a bag of nails and told him that every time he lost his temper, he must hammer a nail into the back of the fence. The boy drove 37 nails into the fence on the first day. Over the next few weeks, as he learned to control his anger, the number of nails hammered gradually decreased. He discovered it was easier to hold his temper than to drive those nails to the fence. Finally, the day came when the boy didn't lose his temper at all. He told his father about it, and the father suggested that the boy pull out one nail for each day that he was able to hold his temper. The days passed by, and the boy was finally able to tell his father that all the nails were gone. The father took his son by the hand and led him to the fence. He said, "You have done well, my son, but look at the holes in the fence. The fence will never the same. When you say something in anger, it leaves a scar just like this one. You can put a knife in a man and draw it out, but it won't matter how many times you say I'm sorry. The wound is still there.